Hi guys, sorry I'm late. Facebook has decided to install a whole new way of going live, a whole awesome, didn't give anyone a warning way of going live on a computer. So after 10 minutes of trying, more like 15 minutes of trying, I am using my phone to go live. I really hope this works. This is the Emotional Eating Masterclass. As soon as I see people attending, I will feel a little bit better. And I am broadcasting live only on Facebook right now. I was going to use my phone to also broadcast on Instagram, but it doesn't look like that will happen tonight. Please introduce yourself as you come. If you are participating tonight, you are here for the CBD oil, aren't you? I have to admit, I'm a little bit shaky. I'm a little bit anxious. I don't like messing up. Who likes messing up? Does anybody like messing up? This is the full-size bottle of Bethesda hemp oil that I distribute because it's a product I believe in and it has helped me and my family so much. Welcome, welcome. Please share with me. Oh, I really hope I can see your comments. This is one of the things that happens when you use your phone sometimes. Are we commenting and I can't see it? I see who's here. Maybe I will have to look at comments on one screen. I feel like a fraud right now. I feel like a hypocrite. I feel inadequate. I feel nervous. I feel a tightness in my stomach. I feel a knot in my throat. So I'm modeling for you guys a little bit of what we're going to be talking about tonight in this masterclass, and that is saying how you feel as a way of coping with emotional eating. And so I am doing that right now. It looks like I'm not going to be able to read comments on my phone, but I can see them popping up, I believe, on the computer. So I'm going to do a fun little dance tonight back and forth between the phone, oh look, and the computer. Except that I can hear my own feedback. And I can't mute it. Wow, life is just so funny. Don't go anywhere, guys. I don't know how to mute the computer. It looks like I'm not going to be able to read comments on my phone, but I can see them popping up. I'm going to try not to cry. So I'm just going to glance over and see if I do get to see comments here and there. And maybe I'm just not meant to see comments right now. So I feel like crying, so I'm gonna allow myself to feel how I'm feeling, because all day long I've been preparing to talk to you tonight, and I'm preparing to tell you that you should feel how you feel. So here I am, having a really hard day. Anybody else have a really hard day? Say yes, wave, say hi to everybody here. If you had a really hard day, or if it's a hard week, or like 3.5 weeks of feeling out of control, having moments where you feel amazing. Oh, look, I can see likes and hearts. You can always give me some of those. I can't see your comments, but please don't make that mean you can't comment, because you will be entered to win by commenting. I will refer back to the computer and pick someone from the comments who is being active here. Thank you, Charity. I can see some comments if I hit refresh over there on the computer. This is what you are here to win tonight. Don't laugh at the size of this is the full-size one, this little sample one. But this medicine is mighty. It's super powerful. And this is just enough to give you a flavor and a sample of what it's like to have pure hemp, pure plant medicine in your system, something I think we should all be relying on for coping right now. Okay, so welcome. I'm so glad you're here live. I am, despite the fact that I want to still cry and that my insides are shaky and that my throat feels tight and that I still have feelings of inadequacy, I'm going to continue with my plan tonight. I've got some awesome stuff to share with you guys, and we're going to just dig in a little bit. It's funny, I saw someone post, one of my friends, Gabby, I think you're here, posted something like, don't tell me to do more self-care, that's not what I need to hear right now. And I am right there with you. I'm not going to I will talk about ways to cope and care for yourself. And I want us all to brainstorm, and maybe some of us need self-care, but I'm not just going to throw around that word tonight as the antidote for your emotional eating. I'm going to dig into a little bit of what the mechanism of emotional eating is right now for you, so that you can recognize what's happening happening and where the trigger is that's leading you to the behavior you don't desire. And then we're going to dismantle that trigger. We're going to look at it and we're going to get really brave tonight, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to get brave and look at it and make a commitment to practicing a new way of patterning our eating. Who is here tonight open and willing and ready to practice anything new so that you can break out of whatever cycle is not serving you right now? Say me, say I'm in, say please Rye, support me, because that is what my heart most desires right now, is to be of service and support to anyone who is struggling with emotional eating right now. Let's see. In order to win, you have to participate. I said that already. I'm going to pick the winner at the end. I've got prompts for you. You gotta answer me. If you want to lurk, that's totally fine. But I've got some good questions that are going to help you uproot and figure out how to dismantle these patterns that are not serving you. Okay. First, I just want to acknowledge that this is hard. This is hard. I think that's a really important part of dealing with emotional eating or any patterning that isn't working. Acknowledging that this is a shit show right now and this is hard. Write it in the comments if you want. This is hard, what we're experiencing. This is unprecedented. Has anybody here ever experienced anything like what the world is experiencing right now? Nope. I mean, maybe if you're like 100 years old or 105 years old and you lived through the Spanish flu, I don't know, but like this is an unprecedented world event, and that's part of what makes it so terrifying, because of the unknown, because we don't have anything to point to. That's part of why it feels like 9/11 flashbacks for me. Anybody else having flashbacks, PTSD, trauma response happening in your body? I will touch on that tonight. Hurricane trauma, right? Because that feeling of out of control, that feeling that I don't know what the hell's happening, not just tomorrow, but like in 10 minutes, not just in the world and with this virus, but which one of my kids I'm going to blow up at, what I'm going to binge on, right? How shitty, how much I'm going to hate myself for how much I'm showing up, how much I'm going to feel bad and shameful for how angry I am at things. And I should be so grateful because I'm so privileged to be well and alive, right? Anybody? So, I just want to acknowledge that, and I want to give you some tools tonight to cope. So what does emotional eating look like? I want you to answer this for me and each other. You don't have to be like super personal and tell us exactly what's happening for you with emotional eating, but what does it look like when, hi Nikki, I'm glad you're here, and it's okay to be addicted to sugar. Sugar is actually very soothing, and I will talk about it a little bit tonight. But if it's not working for you in your body, yeah, let's break that pattern. What does it look like, emotional eating? Let's paint the picture of it. For me, emotional eating usually looks like staring at one spot while I'm eating. That's kind of the picture of emotional eating, like zoning out and just being like, sweet potato, pineapple, right? Just like, usually it's messy for me. That's what emotional eating looks like. What does emotional eating look like for you? This is the time to just kind of like get honest and get real with each other. Let's see, eating while doing other things. So anybody watching the news and eating at the same time, that could be what emotional eating looks like for you. I think it's interesting for some of us, emotional eating happens a lot of time, and tell me if this is true for you, standing up. Anybody emotionally eating standing up, not sitting in front of a plate at the table, just present with your food. You might be standing over the pot at the stove, standing over the sheet pan when it comes out of the oven, and emotionally eating roasted vegetables. Look, and I want to be clear here, emotional eating doesn't just have to be sugar and fat and salt and chips. I can emotionally eat a seriously head of cabbage with some apples in it. So there's that. Great. Someone acknowledges, yes, it does feel like 9/11, and it's comforting for loneliness. Glad you're here, Lorraine. Thank you for being here. Laura, Caroline, Corinda, awesome. Melissa, Lizzie, I'm glad you're here. Thank you. I feel your support tonight. So emotional eating could look like gorging, like eating until you are beyond full, and maybe you're even in a little bit of pain in your body. Your stomach is starting to distend. Can anyone relate to this? Anyone want to be honest here? And yet you still continue to put the food in your mouth because food, I want you to hear this, guys, food suppresses and food soothes. There's the two S's of what food, emotional eating can do. Food suppresses and food soothes. I want you to write in the chat box which one you think you're really using food for. Are you soothing? Are you doing like, oh, it's okay, you can feel better? Or are you suppressing? Like, I don't even want to acknowledge that something's even coming up. I'm just shoving it back down. Anyone? Food soothes and food suppresses. So what's your poison? What's your food of choice? I'm glad you're here, Peggy. What is the comfort food that you turn to? You could tell me about your all-time favorite comfort food. You could tell me about the comfort food that you chose yesterday. I was always a fan of cheese melted on things. Anybody feeling the cheese thing? Cheese on chips, grilled cheese, macaroni and cheese. Man, it's sad to be intolerant to dairy at a time like this. Caroline acknowledges, yes, I found that I'm only eating healthy stuff, but I can't believe how much of it I ate. Yeah, some real food comfort eating, some real food emotional eating. Good. Corinda and Lorraine both say that the soothing of food is what's most appealing to them. What's the food? Is it cookies? Is it chips? Is it leftover crap that your kids aren't eating? I used to make my kids macaroni and cheese and then eat the last third of it out of the pot, and they'd come back for seconds and I'd be like, no, you guys ate it all. But I really ate it with the wooden spoon. I didn't want to put it in a bowl and eat it. For me, emotional eating is eating out of the pot. Anybody know what I'm talking about? Yeah. So good. We've got some foods of choice. So food soothes and food suppresses. Food creates the illusion of wholeness and fullness. I want you to write that in the chat box if that resonates with you. Food creates the illusion of wholeness and fullness. So there's an unmet need, there's an emptiness, there's a fear, and we're going to get at that. There's a something, there's an agitation, there's an irritation with your kids. And then the food gives you a feeling, a temporary feeling of wholeness and fullness. Does that resonate for you? Do you like that feeling of fullness in your belly in the face of icky emotions? I do. Louis C.K. had that bit, right? The meal isn't over when you're full. The meal is over when I hate myself. Because you couldn't stop until that fullness was, you were at full capacity, right? I feel like I grew up with Italian American grandparents, and it was like, really, it wasn't a Sunday afternoon unless you felt sick from the ravioli, unless you overdid it. And it's almost like this trophy, these bragging rights, like, oh, I ate 36 ravioli. Look, Dad's passed out on the couch, right? The coma. So food creates the illusion of wholeness and fullness for us. So here's the question. What are we soothing? What are you suppressing? You can answer it now. I'm going to ask about feelings again later, but give me a heart or a like if this is resonating with you. What are you suppressing? What are you soothing? Where are you trying to create wholeness where there is emptiness? I'm going to guess for a lot of us right now, it's fear. Fear of the unknown. Give me a like or a yes or raise your hand here. Fear of the unknown is really what you're managing. I got to be honest. I am soothing and suppressing the 3.5-year-old that is literally always talking and always needs something and always wants stimulation. And then the feelings of guilt I have for just wanting to be like, shut up, or put both of them in front of the television because they're always here now. And yes, I live on 127 acres, and when it rains, it's usually one of the days when I cry a lot because we're not outside. Who is suppressing and soothing feelings of shame or guilt for feeling how they're feeling? I should be so grateful right now that I'm healthy and that I can afford to sit at home. And instead I'm like irritated, annoyed, angry at the people who are still going out when I'm staying in the house. Who's agitated by what they're seeing on their Facebook feed? But you can't stop looking, right? can't stop reading the headlines. And it's creating more of what needs to be soothed and suppressed for you. These are triggers, you guys. What you're experiencing, the things that are leading you to eat are triggers. For some of us, it's a trauma response, like I just talked about, PTSD from 9/11 or hurricanes, or something that happened to you at some point in your life when you felt out of control. And like you no matter what you did, it wasn't going to make a difference in what was happening outside of you. Yes? So here's how the triggers manifest. And I want you to listen because I'm going to ask you which one resonates the most. When we are triggered, when we feel the fear, when we feel out of control, it affects our body. And here's my question. Actually, there's so many of you participating. Thank you. How is your body affected right now by what's going on? Either the response that's happening in your body or by the food that you're putting in your body. For me, I start to feel ungrounded the more I shame spiral, yell at my kids, feel crappy for what I ate or didn't eat, how I didn't take care of myself, how I forgot to take my supplements, start shame spiraling, and I start to disassociate. So I become ungrounded and I leave my body. Can anybody relate to this? Up. I go into my head and we'll get to the mind. And then I'm like, I'm useless. I'm useless to me and I'm useless to people around me. I feel fluttering in my stomach. So this is a really good practice, guys. I feel blank. We're going to get to this. I feel raciness happening. Like, gotta try and do something. Gotta do something. Gotta get control somehow. Yeah? What do you feel in your body when you are triggered? Right before you go for the food. This is what I'm trying to get you to get aware of. What is happening right before the binge? Laura feels guilt for regressing into grouchy mom mood with the return of the junior adult. Yes, all ages. They don't have to be 3.5 to be pissing you off and living in your house and being ungrateful. My 11-year-old, oh my God, and just being like, wah! And I want to just be like, you have an amazing life. But his concerns are real, right? Melissa has loneliness from missing her social group. Yeah, anybody feeling lonely? I'm glad you're here if you are. Caroline feels tension in her body and then she freezes. Great, really honest response. Fight, flight, and freeze. All things that happen in the body when we are triggered before the emotional eating. So the body is affected. What else is affected before the emotional eating? The mind. Your beautiful, brilliant, wonderful mind that won't shut the hell up. Is anybody hearing so much chatter right now? The what ifs, the OMGs, the trying to figure out the stupidest little things, the obsessing about things that don't seem to really matter, but maybe they matter. The mind, the racing. So the body is affected, the mind is affected. How is your mind affected? And then the habits. So the body falters, the mind falters, and then what happens? We lose routine. We stop taking care of ourselves. Maybe we lash out. There's a self-care nosedive that might happen. Can you relate? Say yes. I've lost my habits. Look, we are all out of our routine right now. I have been working from home and homeschooling my kids for the last 8 months, so you would think that this isn't much of a disruption, but oh, it is. It really is for me. And I said to my husband today, I cannot imagine a 2-parent household with 2 full-time jobs and full-time kids trying to navigate this right now. So our body is triggered, our mind is triggered, our habits begin to falter, and then what happens? We turn to food. Why do we turn to the food? Why don't we turn to, I don't know, something else, something healthy? What if we wanted to exercise or meditate every time we felt bad, huh? Do you believe that's possible? Say yes if you think that might be possible. Food is something we have to engage with. I'm telling you why we emotionally eat. We need to eat anyway, so we're hungry. We have to be fed. It's readily available right there in your home, and you're trapped in your home, right? And you guys, I hope this lets you off the hook a little bit. Food changes the chemical situation happening in your body and in your mind and gives you a hit. It gives you serotonin and dopamine and a whole bunch of other stuff that I don't even know about. But can you feel it when you eat? It's not just because it tastes good. It's because it's changing what's happening chemically in your brain and in your body. And it's changing you from irritated, shameful, guilty to content. Yummy, yummified, calmer. It's soothing, right? It can calm you down. I need a sip of my hemp oil. Of my liquid gold, my herbal infusion. I'm not going to sip that hemp oil. It's strong. I've got 6 ways to help you cope tonight. I'm going to actually take a sample of this hemp oil before I jump into the 6 ways to help you cope. And look, I want to be clear about something. It's not just food, right? This is all addictions. Alcohol, sex, porn, screens, staring at your phone, addiction to social media, right? Let's be honest here. It's not just food that we use to soothe, but food is a really easy, socially acceptable. I mean, we all enable each other in this, right? Shit's going down. Let's share the cookies and the candy. Yes? Food is a really easy one, but this is really we're talking about addiction in some ways, and if you are dealing with a severe addiction, I'm not your expert, but my hope is that these 6 things that I'm going to share with you and these cues that I'm going to ask you will support you in practicing new ways and new patterning around this emotional eating cycle you're stuck in. Because does it feel like you're on a hamster wheel? Anybody on a hamster wheel? Right? You can't stop? Because the physiological response you're getting from the food, from the cookie, from the bread, is addicting. And you want it again. And look, it's right there. You can just reach over and get some more. So here's how you take a hemp oil real quick. Under the tongue, about 4 drops. Oh my gosh, all of a sudden I'm seeing comments. Hello, can you comment so I can see if there's comments? That's exciting. So, I want you to be honest here. Now it's time to answer questions. I'm going to pick the winner from who's answering questions. Not the best answers, but just a random choose based on what's coming in. Where are you feeling the impact of your emotional eating tonight? Is it in your body? Is it in your mind? Is it in the habits? Again, you're getting a physiological hit from the carbs, the fat, the salt, and the sugar. That's typically what we're choosing to binge on, even though I can binge on some cabbage. Where are you feeling the impact tonight of this emotional eating? Because that's what we're going to focus on shifting. Okay, so scale of 1 to 10. How ready are you to shift this dynamic that's not working? 10 is, yes, right, I'm ready. I want to practice new habits. I want to hear what you've got to share. And I want to use the tools shared tonight to shift this pattern. Scale of 1 to 10. I'm like a 11, maybe a 12. It doesn't mean you have to do this perfectly. So if you are ready, if you're feeling that readiness to change, and I'm hoping I'm seeing some 10s, some 9s, some 8s, yes, I want you to say, I'm ready to address my core need. Because that's really what we're going to be talking about for the next 20 minutes or so. So hang with me. I'm ready to address the core need. I've got 6 tips for addressing your core need so that food doesn't fill it in. Make sense? Here's my ask as I go through these 6 things. Don't try and take in all of them or feel like you have to do all of them. Whatever resonates, latch onto that. If you use the chat box to write, you can just, if I say focus on what's working, you can just write focus on what's working. So use the chat box to echo what you hear me say that you like, and that will reinforce that. That's a way of taking notes and reinforce that in your brain so that it's sticky. We want some of this stuff to stick. It's not all gonna stick. If something doesn't resonate, let it go, okay? How to address the core need. 6 tips from Rye. Number 1, focus on what's going well. I'm going to change that. Focus on what you're doing well. My members, anyone I've ever coached, my private clients, those of you in my group transformation program are all very familiar with this prompt, and I'm going to ask it to you right now. This is at the core of behavior change with everyone I've worked with over the last 8 years. You have got to be able to see what's working in order to do more of what you want to do and to extinguish the pattern, the emotional eating stuck cycle that you want to go away. We have this idea that if we focus on what's not working, we can make it change, right? Look at this thing I'm doing. I gotta stop doing this thing. I did the thing again. I can't believe I did that thing again. Why did I do that thing again? How do I stop doing that thing? You are reinforcing that thing in your head over and over and over again the more you focus on what's not working. Does this resonate? Give me a yes. So I want you to practice right now, and everybody on this call who's commenting, I want you to share with me, what are you successful at right now? In anything, I don't give a crap. It can be food, it can be self-care, it can be exercise, it can be movement, it can be being patient with your kids, it can be finding a moment of mindfulness every day, it can be taking a shower every day. That's like a new accomplishment for me in all this. What are you successful at right now? When you focus on what's going well, you get some juice behind that, and you can start patterning more of that behavior instead of doing this, wrestling with, looking at, dissecting, overanalyzing, obsessing over, talking about, journaling about, all of it, the thing that's not working. You are keeping yourself in that pattern the more you focus on it. So come on over here and tell me, friends, what's working? Where are you showing up for yourself right now? Where are you proud of yourself in the midst of all this? Corinda's supplements are going well. Liquid gold, yes, Corinda is referring to the 5 types of liquids that I share inside my group transformation program. Herbal infusions is one of the most popular, super easy to do. A lot of my members do this too. Corinda is also making the family a schedule. Oh my God, can somebody please do a masterclass on how to make a family schedule? I know, I feel like that should be really easy. See, this is me judging myself. We'll get to that in a second. See, do you see what I'm doing? I'm going, I'm not good at that. I'm not good at that. Yes? And I'm asking you, show me what you're good at. Melissa is rocking at cooking right now. Lizzie is finding her me time. Beautiful. Lorraine has got movement working in. Okay, so I want you to feel what it feels like to focus on what's working. Anybody getting a little feeling of lift? A little, I talked to my transformers last night, just saying I did it after doing something that you want to reinforce and do again is huge positive trigger for bringing it back again. Focus on what's going well. What are some ways that you can focus on what's going well throughout your day? What if we could just I don't know, I feel like it would be game changing for me every time I did something that I felt good about, which should be all day long, right? I don't acknowledge so many of my wins because it's I should be doing that. Let's not should on ourselves. What if every time I gave myself awesome nourishment, remembered to take my supplements, drank water, brewed myself some herbal infusions, sat down to meditate for 5 minutes, was actually patient with one of my kids? What if I wrote that on a Post-it note every time I was rocking at my life? Even if 5 minutes later I start yelling at them and emotionally eating and doing all the things that I hate about myself, what if I could just put it on a Post-it? Post that evidence around my house, on my mirror, in the bathroom, write it in lipstick, and feel good about what I'm doing right, because there's no way you all are sitting at home on your asses right now only screwing up. And I'm going to guess that there's a lot of you right now that are feeling pretty crappy about yourself and your emotional eating. Focus on what's going well. That's number 1. Number 2, ditch the judgment. What the The hell does that mean, right? Easier said than done. What judgment is that? Well, I'm talking about judgment for yourself. Although, if you are harshly judging others, that might be an indicator that you are harshly judging yourself. And the only thing I'm asking you to look at right now is your self-judgment. The part where you start to hate yourself for eating all the cookies. Anybody? The part where you start to really feel, I said to my husband tonight, I just feel like an epic failure of a mother and wife. I just feel like a failure. I think it's okay to acknowledge that. I'll get to it. But the judgment, that part where it's just like, ugh, I suck. So not only are we focusing on what's going well, we're really ditching the judgment. The research shows we can hook people up in all sorts of awesome ways. And the research shows the more you are judging yourself, generating those feelings of ick and funk, the more you're going to hang out in that same old pattern. So you eat the cookies, you feel shame for eating the cookies, and then what do you want to do when you feel shame? Eat more cookies. You see it? You feel it? Yes? Ditch the judgment. That happens when we can pay attention in the present moment. This is where mindfulness comes in, guys. Anybody practicing mindfulness, say yes, say me, give me a like, give me a heart. It doesn't have to be sit down, meditate for 30 minutes and say Om 100 times, although it certainly can, and that's beautiful. It can be like pausing in the backyard when you take the dog out to pee and just feeling your feet on the grass, feeling the wind and the sun on your face. Yes? The research shows us practicing mindfulness gives us that capacity to ditch the judgment, to be the curious observer. Look, you want to get rid of judgment? All you have to do is notice how you feel. Notice what you're saying to yourself. I'm going to change that. Oh, how interesting. Be the curious observer over here, not here. I suck. I'm yelling at my kids. I suck. Here. Wow, I noticed that I'm yelling at my kids a lot today. And it makes me want to go look at my phone or eat things out of the pantry. That's interesting. Maybe I need to cry about it. Just notice without judgment. So let me ask you this. This is a vision question. Actually, let's do this. 3 present breaths I'm going to ask you to do. My members know this is something I do. My coaching clients, my private clients, you can't get on a call with me and get some coaching without about 2 to 5 minutes of mindfulness. And we're just going to do 3 breaths tonight. So I want you to feel your feet on the ground. I want you to feel your butt in the chair. I want you to take a breath and close your eyes and trust me here. So all that I'm going to ask you to do is be present in your body and let the mind do what the mind is going to do. But stop listening to it and get down into yourself. Taking a deep breath, slowly and expansively. Really fill up. Exhaling when you're at the top. And just be in your body for 3 breaths. Sometimes it helps me to feel my hands, my skin, to notice where my belly and my ribs are expanding, or to even feel the sensation of the coolness of the air in my nostrils when I inhale. And then as a final moment here, just listen to what you hear. That's it. You can come on back. So, does anybody want to share a noticing from that couple of seconds? I feel slower and I feel less emotionally charged from, what was that, 30 seconds? Mindfulness is game-changing. On my better days, I'm doing it twice a day for 5 to 10 minutes each session. On the days when I end up doing a lot of crying and emotional eating and hating myself, it's usually a day I did 0 mindfulness. And that's me. I'm not saying it's a cure-all for everyone, but guys, the research is just mind-blowing around it. And a lot of us have time. The app, the Calm app, which is one of the ones that I use, has a section for kids mindfulness that my 11-year-old worked through all of those this past winter when we were having some anxiety. I'd love to get back to it with him. There's a lot of resources for practicing right now. Here's my question now from this calmer state, this shoulders a little bit dropped, this couple of deep breaths in your belly state. What does it look like to have a healthy relationship with food? What does it look like in the version of you where you aren't emotionally eating? So with the beginning of the call, we talked about what it looks like to emotionally eat, right? Stand at the stove, stare at a spot, eat while doing other things, don't stop when you're full. What's the opposite of that? Give me the vision, give me the picture of what it looks like to be you without judgment, focused on what's going well, rocking it being your badass self and not needing cookies or whatever it is. Peanut butter right out of the jar. Oh, you guys were all listening to Rain. Mary Lee stopped clenching her stomach in those 3 breaths. Do you feel the power of that? Corinda yawned and she's physically much more relaxed. It's incredible. What does it look like? So vision question for you guys. Okay, number 3. We had focus on what's going well, ditch the judgment, i.e. practice mindfulness, paying attention in the present moment without judging yourself, without hating yourself. Number 3, feel the feels. Feel the feels. Anybody know where I'm going with this? This is the sentence I want you to fill the blank in. And this is what I did at the beginning of the call, those of you that were here at the beginning. So I was flustered. I got on 11 minutes late. Facebook has decided to change the whole way that they do live video from a computer. It wasn't working, yada, yada, yada. So I got on late, and all that I could do was practice what I'm going to tell you guys to do, which is to say, I feel like a failure. I feel nervous. I feel my stomach tightening. I feel a knot in my throat. So when I say feel the feels, what I want you to do is fill in this sentence. Everybody write it in the comments. I want your cursor to hover there. Don't hit enter yet. And your job in the face of emotional eating, in the face of a big emotion, you don't even have to be going for the cookies yet, but it's a great time to stop, pause, know that you can still get the cookies in 3 minutes after you do this exercise, and practice this tool with me. I feel blank. I want every single one of you, without thinking, to fill in a feeling. It could be how you feel right now, although we just practiced some mindfulness, so you might be feeling good. How about you fill in a feeling that you think you're probably feeling a lot of the time, or a feeling you felt today, but you didn't express. You just soothed and stuffed, or addiction, or projected and yelled, or blamed. What is the feeling that you are avoiding? What is the feeling that needs to come out? What is the feeling? Remember in kindergarten and first grade, there's the poster chart with the different faces and all the different feelings so that the kids can identify how they feel? That's what I want you to do in the face of the big feelings. That's what I did at the beginning of this call. I feel like a failure. So when it doesn't just have to be a feeling, it can also be a feeling in your body. So it can be an emotion. I feel sad. I feel frustrated. I feel scared. I feel overwhelmed. Or it can be a feeling. I feel clenching in my throat, a sensation. I feel nervousness in my stomach. I feel my head getting more confused. Megan says, I feel sad. Laura says, I feel frustrated. Good. It's important, ladies, to put the I feel. I feel. And you can ramp this up. So you can stand there in front of the cookies and just take a minute in front of whatever it is, in the face of whatever the chaos is that you're grappling with, and just start naming what's going on. Because this is what we're not doing. This is what we're avoiding, right? I feel frustrated. So instead of saying I feel frustrated and using my tools to cope, I felt frustrated and I started smashing on my 11-year-old's door because he locked his door, and yesterday I told him not to lock his door when he was on his screens. And I just lost my shit on him tonight. Instead of acknowledging that I felt overwhelmed and frustrated, That's my version of emotional eating. being shitty to other people usually. I feel what? Where do you feel it in your emotional body, and where do you feel it in your body? Speak it out loud in the face of the cookies. Write it down if you don't want to say it out loud. Tune in to yourself. This is brave work, you guys. This is not easy. This is why we need to teach this stuff to our kids. Listen, tonight, Luca totally melted down when I was cooking dinner. He's 3. So he was tired and he was crying and there was this whole thing happening and he wanted to stop crying. And he kept saying to me, it was so sad, "How make me happy again. Make me happy." He was uncomfortable with his feeling of frustration and sadness. It feels bad, right? But what did I do with Luca? I knew I was doing this class tonight, and so I sat with him and I said, I can't make you feel better. You're the only one that can make yourself feel better, honey. And you know what? I think you need to let it all out first in order to feel better. So instead of trying to stop and soothe and suppress, right? And isn't that what we do with children? Isn't that how most of us probably were lovingly, well-meaningly, right? Oh, stop crying. No, that's bad. Here's the thing to make it go away, the treat. I'm guilty of that with my kids. The television, the distraction. Yes? Does this resonate? Here's the thing to make the bad feeling go away. And what I'm telling you in this number 3 here is that in order to make the bad feeling go away in a healthy way, you've got to let that feeling be expressed. It's got to come up and out. As soon as I said to you guys in the beginning, I feel nervous, I feel frustrated, I feel like an imposter, I feel a knot in my stomach, I feel a knot in my throat, I feel shaky, it was like a release happened. And then I came to the other side. Had I suppressed that and tried to soothe that, and I'm an expert at soothing with supplements and remedies and all of the things, I might not be in a flow right now with you guys, right? Because I wouldn't be in alignment with me. I feel sad, so I'm going to be sad. Does this land for you? Don't run from the feeling. Feel it. And it feels scary for some of us, right? It feels like if I feel it, I'm never going to stop feeling it. I'm afraid I'll be stuck in sadness forever. Look, I cried the other day and it came out, I felt physically sick, but then I started to have this emotional experience and I allowed myself, I'm doing this work, you guys, because I want to learn it for me and for you. And I said, I've got to let this come up and out, what I'm feeling right now. And I sobbed so hard for 30 minutes like somebody died. Somebody so close to me. That's the level. And I said to Nick, it feels like grief. It feels like I am grieving for everyone who is dying right now. It feels like I'm grieving for everyone who's lost something right now. All of the seniors in high school who won't get to go to their prom. All of the, all these great things, all these accomplishments, all these weddings that are being canceled, all these celebrations. There was a memorial service for someone who passed in my mother's life that has to be postponed. The grief is palatable right now. And the fear might be for you, if I go to that scary feeling, I don't know, I'm going to die. I'm going to combust. I'll never get out of it. I'll be traumatized, right? We're so afraid to feel it. And what happened for me after 30 minutes of grieving and sobbing? I felt like a new flippin' person. I was able to turn it around and have an awesome weekend. So number 3, feel the feels. Practice it. I feel blank. Yes? Does this resonate? Can you do this? Good. I feel blah. I feel afraid. I feel scared. I feel lonely. I feel useless. I feel jammed. I feel a pit in my stomach. Good job, Peggy. That's great. So, right, guys, not just feelings, but body sensations. You don't have to understand it up here. Get out of your mind, get into your body and your emotional body and feel the feels. I promise you this is powerful for conquering emotional eating. So focus on what's working. Ditch the judgment and feel the feels. Whew, that's a lot of things. Remember, you only have to walk away with 1 or 2 of these tips. Number 4, find ways to cope. Find other ways to cope. And this is not the self-care spiel, but I want us to brainstorm right now. What are some possible ways, possible things, possible tools that we can access to cope? I don't know, let's brainstorm. I really feel like orgasms are a wonderful way to cope. Just being honest. Funnily enough, I don't allow them as often as I should for how awesome I think they are. Sometimes we can self-sabotage our efforts to be well, to choose well, to receive. Anybody relate to that? Because we don't feel worthy, because we are soothing and suppressing with all of our addictions. What are the ways that we can cope with these big feelings? Going for a walk. Is anybody using nature right now? God, I'm just so thankful that this is happening in spring and not the dead of winter, and that we do have the capability to go outside. Corinda's afraid to be sad in front of her kids right now because I don't want the situation to scare them. Good honesty, Corinda. You know, I would encourage you to play with that. I don't know how old your kids are. You can share. And I know we have some people on this call who are much more of an expert on children than I am. I won't call motherhood an area of expertise at all for me. But I actually think it's really wonderful to model for our children feeling the feelings. Mommy just feels nervous tonight. I just feel scared tonight about all the things that I don't know. I mean, it is scary to talk about the unknown with children. This is like when they have their first experience with death, right? And it's like, how much do you want to shelter them? And how much do you want to just be totally transparent with them? Age is a factor here, and you know your children best. But they need to know how to say, I feel scared, I feel sad. And how are they going to learn that? From you. Find ways to cope. Good. Someone acknowledges they feel a heaviness in their chest as one of their feelings. Great. The more we can identify where it's happening in our body, the more it can move up, out, and through. Movement, exercise, nature, connecting with friends, getting outdoors, breathing, calling a friend, cleaning. Yes. Has anybody's house never been as organized or cleaned out? From the Goodwill must be overloaded right now, or the garbage piles, I'm sure. Food prepping. Ooh, Caroline says food prepping has become my security. What a beautiful word. And yes, food insecurity is certainly triggered in the face of this catastrophe, right? Will there be enough? Will I have enough? Will I have fresh food? Finding ways to cope. I heard an interview with Glennon Doyle recently. Who knows her work? She just wrote the book Untamed, I believe it's called. I'm dying to get it, but I'm curtailing any unnecessary spending right now. I know some of you are reading it. I can't wait to read it. She's just a fantastic thought leader, I'll call her. And she was interviewed for a podcast, and she said, I love how honest she is. She still has so many shitty days, even though she's successful in her business and is raising these successful kids and left the marriage that was unfulfilling and found her life partner and the whole thing, the whole great story. But she's like, oh, I have some shit days. A lot of them actually, where I feel like an epic failure and like I just don't even know what I need. And she says that she has a list of things she might need on her wall. And when she's feeling really lost, she looks at the list. And there are things on the list like drink a glass of water. Do you need water? Do you need to step outside and take a 5-minute break? I mean, we think like, oh, that's just so simple, right? That's so self-explanatory. But you have got to ask for what you need. And in order to ask for what you need, you've got to start looking at and recognizing that you have a need. What if we started a little list, right? Simple things to give myself when I don't know what I need. You don't have to know at every moment what you need, but you have to learn how to step back and realize I need to step back and I have a need right now. I gotta take care of myself. There's some sick, sadistic part of ourselves that loves to keep going back to whatever is keeping us tortured. I really think that's human. And it's a pattern and it's a habit that can be broken. You can repattern and learn how to stop, push back, literally. Sometimes it takes like stepping your body physically back, standing up, right? Or sitting down, something to get grounded, walking outside, rolling a window down, pulling your hair out of a thing and shaking for a second. Disrupt what's not working, the stuckness, and consult your list. What do I need? Do I need a hug? Do I need to go apologize to the person I blew up at? Do I need to give away the 5 dozen cookies I just baked? Number 5, NSK yourself. NSK your shit, I'm gonna call it. Sorry to be blunt. You cannot conquer emotional eating, you guys, if you have not stocked your kitchen and fed your face with some good food. If you're legitimately hungry and there's a dozen cookies sitting there and the news is ticking to telling you how many people have died and telling you your kids are going to be home with you for 6 more months, oh, hell yeah, you're eating all the cookies, right? Anybody with me here? You have got to be well fed. Hunger is just impossible. I won't say impossible, but just you're being so unfair to your poor body and yourself if you are beating yourself up for emotionally eating and you don't have real food in your system or in your house. So get yourself NSK'd. That means doing a little bit of planning. What are you eating? Right? Where are your vegetables filling up your belly? Have you prepped any stuff in advance? Are there muffins that are NSK approved on the counter that you can feel good about binging on 2 of when you feel like you just need something instead of the Entenmann's or whatever? You've got to plan and prep and commit to your kitchen and show up for yourself so that the nourishing food is there for you to eat, and your husband's bag of Oreos might not be as tempting. Can anybody stand to get more real food in their belly to avoid the emotional eating? This is not a time to be on a very restrictive diet. I've got to be honest with you. Good, I'm just looking at your comments. I know it's 9:30. I didn't get started until 9:42, so I'm gonna be wrapping right at the 1 hour mark. Commit to feeding yourself good food. Write in the comment box, I am ready to eat more real food. That could be, instead of struggling with the emotional eating, you could just focus on eating more good food and see how and if that shifts the dynamic and the patterning with the emotional eating. Guys, you might be hungry. When we are in a state of stress, when we are in a state of anxiety, we are burning a lot. When you are all day with your kids and all day working and all day stressing, you are burning a lot. You need fuel right now. You need good, clean fuel, as clean as you can get. I know the grocery situation is messy as hell, but there's frozen vegetables out there. There's frozen fruit out there. Cook a big pot of oatmeal and rice. Like, you want some carbs right now? Make some real food carbs. My husband and I always say, make real food your junk food. Put some French fries in the air fryer with some cut potatoes, right? Make some grass-fed burgers on the skillet. Load it all up with all your favorite fixins and toppings and eat some comfort food that's real food. Don't be like, I should be eating a little bit of salad right now, and then you binge on all the cookies and you hate yourself. Nikki, who came earlier, you told me the sugar is really happening. How much real food are you eating? Commit to shopping any way that you can. Be resourceful. Let me know if you need a code for Misfits Markets. I'm getting an organic vegetable box every single week. Send me a message. I can get you 25% off your first box. Get a hold of the food. Get in your kitchen, your home, and prep yourself some really good nourishing stuff that you can use and rely on and count on in the face of these big emotions that make you want to eat the cookies. I keep saying cookies, but you know what I mean. Cookies is code for whatever your thing is. Number 6, final tip. Be intentional. Be intentional right now. This is, for me, this is connected to whatever your spiritual life is. If you have one, even a little teeny tiny shred of one. This is your time to be intentional, to get grounded, to have a morning routine, to say a prayer and ask for support throughout the day, the big, long day that you might be facing. Practice mindfulness. Just take that 5 minutes. This is the self-care I promised I wasn't going to say. Take bubble baths to cope. Yes, I'm going to tell you, take 5 minutes in the morning to cope. When I do not have my morning intentional time, without fail, I have a shit day. When I take 5, 10, 15 minutes to say a prayer, to write down what the 3 most important things are that I want to do that day, to write down 5 gratitudes, to state the ways that I want to be. I have my Start Today journal. Oh, where'd I put it? This, I fill out every morning. I haven't been doing it the last few. I've been crying a lot. I wonder if there's a correlation. I do 5 gratitudes and then 10 ways that dreams, visions that I want to happen. I healed my body. I can safely eat all real food. I have a rich spiritual life. I focus on one task at a time. I have an incredible team. I show up for myself first. Every day, the same 10 things for 3 months. I love this journal, the Start Today journal. It can be anything for you, but be intentional. Sit with your coffee and scratch just a couple of gratitudes and ways of feeling and intentions that you have for the day. Throw up a prayer to whatever your higher power is. Take a deep breath, listen to the birds, and then step into your day. Be intentional. Connect. So here they were. Here's the 6. Listen to them, and I want you to state which one jumps out at you. Write it in the comments. Focus on what's going well. These are how to address the core need and stop emotionally eating. Focus on what you're doing well, not what's going well outside of you, right? Oh, my bank account looks good. That's good, but focus on what you're doing well. I went out for a walk this morning. Ditch the judgment. This is my pitch to practice a little bit of mindfulness. Just get present and calm the system down like we did with those 3 breaths. Feel the feels. Let it come up and out. Corinda, if you don't want to feel what you're feeling in front of your son, go take a bathroom break and look in the mirror and say, I feel sad, I feel scared. And let it come up. Cry for a minute. Feel the feels, so important. Find ways to cope. Remember, we're going to put a little Post-it note. We're going to make a list. Drink water. Walk outside. It can be difficult when we're in the shit to know what do I need, but you can consult your little cheat sheet. I might just need some hydration, 5 deep breaths, and walk out and pet a horse. Why am I not petting the horses right now? Horses are so calming, right? Because we do that thing when we're in trauma, when we're triggered, when things feel bad, they want to just keep feeling bad. Keep doing all the things to feel bad because it can feel scary to step out and we can feel like, I don't even know what to do right now. Find ways to cope, and they can be small and simple. Call a friend. This is a phone a friend moment, you guys. We all need to stay connected. NSK, your kitchen and your life. Are you eating real food? Are you filling your belly up with good things? Yes? You might be less inclined to eat all the cookies then. Maybe, just maybe. And number 6, be intentional. Take a minute. Set an intention. Throw up a prayer. Which one of these things resonates with you? Which one of these points, these posts, you feel like, okay, Rye, you kind of got me. That one's got my ears going, that's interesting. Which one stands out as a practice? You're not going to do it perfectly. But if you're here, you're willing to just practice doing it some other way. Let's call it in the next week. It's just an experiment. It's not a commitment for life. Which one of them can you practice in the next week? Focus on what you're doing well. Ditch the judgment. Feel the feels. Find ways to cope. NSK your kitchen. And get intentional. Megan loves the list idea. She says it totally works. It does, Megan. Isn't it amazing? And it's like, you want to judge yourself, skip the judgment. Number 2, be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I have to write down on a list, take a sip of water and take 3 deep breaths. But yes, you do. Somebody wanted to join this group. They didn't get in time. Let me add them to the group. Maybe they can watch the last few minutes. Hi, Libby. Sorry I didn't let you in sooner. Which one of these things could actually do it for you? Okay, we're not done. I'm going to pick a winner in a minute. On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the most confident, how confident are you that you can just start dipping your toe in and dabbling here? Corinda wants to find other ways to cope. Melissa agrees, finding other ways to cope, good. Caroline, be intentional in the morning, wonderful. I know your morning routine has been so supportive of you in the past. It needs to be part of your present then. Nancy, being intentional, I actually love cooking again. Yes. Now I need to rework some of Grandma's old recipes. Let's do it together, Noonie. That's my aunt. Great. Finding ways to cope. You guys are doing such good work here right now. Thank you for applying. Scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the most confident. How confident are you that you can just dip your toe? Dip your toe, and it's okay if your answer is 4 and you're like, right, where am I getting some confidence from right now? You just gave me a whole bunch of ideas. Your confidence will come as you try some of these things, I promise. But I want to ask you real quick to think about some of the hardest things you've done in your life. What have you come out of? What have you been through in your life that was fucking hard? You don't have to say it here, but I know a lot of you, right? A messy divorce, a messy custody battle, being in the military, going to war, surviving chronic illness, giving birth, carrying a baby for 9 months, and then breastfeeding them for 2.5 years. I'm giving you mine. Giving up everything I knew in my life to move to the country to try and heal and change the way we show up in the world. These are hard things. I did those hard things. So can I stare down the plate of cookies? Or in my case, the muffins I baked for the kids that are filled with ingredients that make my stomach hurt, but as soon as I'm done baking them for the kids, I start ripping off the tops of the muffins and shoving them in my mouth warm? Oh my God, it's so good. Right? And I can look at that and see, okay, I know what I was doing. I was stuffing my feelings. I hadn't eaten enough that day. I wasn't intentional. I didn't have morning time. And I have not been practicing other ways of coping. So hell yeah, I'm eating off 4 muffin tops and just leaving the stumps for the 3-year-old. Isn't that child abuse? Ooh, I'm hearing 7s, 8s, 9s, and 10s. Oh my gosh, you guys are amazing that you're feeling that confident. All right, what's one thing you can do to set yourself up for success after this call? I know you want to focus in on a certain area, but give me a teeny tiny action step, you guys. What's one thing you can do to set yourself up for success with tackling this emotional eating thing? And when I say tackling, guys, it's a practice. It's absolutely a practice, and you're going to learn so much as you ditch the judgment. Just notice and name how you're feeling and feel the feels. You're going to be, so much will be revealed to you as you do. What's one practical thing that you're going to be doing in light of this conversation, this video, this call? I think I'm going to be making a list of ways to cope. I think that would really help me, Glennon Doyle style. What are you going to be doing? List your action. I'm going to be picking a winner in a second. Where do you have support right now that you're not utilizing too? I know a lot of us on here are women and moms and caretakers, and we tend to block the support or not feel deserving of it or feel like there's no time for that. Where do you have support right now? I have such a supportive family, my immediate family and my extended family, and I don't appreciate and see it enough. So I'm going to choose to receive that support more in the next week. Just being able to say, I need help. Help me. Help me. Who here says help me? I need help. You can say it to me right now, Rye, help me. I'm trying to, but practice that. It's scary to ask for help. You all are laughing at my stumps. I eat the tops. The tops are the best part, aren't they? My mother-in-law has a muffin tin that just makes muffin tops. I don't know if it would have the same effect as ripping the top off the stump and seeing all the steam come out and then eating the top. Melissa's going to look into some mindfulness apps. Great, Melissa. Caroline's going to look up the Start Today journal. Yes, they sell them at Target, and you can buy them online on Rachel Hollis's website, Hollis. Megan's going to make her coping list. Laura's going to rewrite her happy things to do list and post it up front and center on the fridge. Brilliant, Laura. I love this. Everyone's loving my list idea. We're going to have to show off our lists in the group, please. Okay, what are you taking away tonight? Besides one person taking away a sample bottle of hemp oil. What are you taking away? What's one thing you heard or said or felt, hello, that mindfulness worked for some of you, or realized tonight that is your little nugget and your gift? Not an action. I know what you're going to do. We're not doing right now. I want your takeaway. Those of you just lurking, I want you to think it. One takeaway from the night. Okay, I'm going to go ahead while you're listing your takeaway. As you list your takeaway, you're entering for another chance to win hemp oil, oil. That's my hemp oil song, but that's probably a different song. It's some song I stole, I'm sure. Hemp oil, oil. Lorraine, I live alone, so it's just me, myself, and I. Lorraine, is there no one in your life? I'm not talking about only the people in your house with you. And be careful that that's the perspective you're adopting. You may have chosen that for yourself and you're reinforcing it for yourself. I'm going to challenge you to think a little differently there with that one. It's just me. I'm all alone is what you're telling us. I don't believe you. You have all of us on this call right now. You have hemp oil. Lorraine won the hemp oil the other night. I'm glad you came back again. I think that perspective might be holding you back, Lorraine. Okay, here we go. Corinne's going to call her friends and ask her husband for more help. I love that. All right, I'm going to pick the winner. I just have to click on the comments. Nope, I'm going to pick on the winner from those who attended. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And the winner of the hemp oil is Jen Rollins-Wright. Jen, oh, did you participate tonight, Jen? Oh, I might have to give away 2. I'm going to give away 2. Second bottle. Jen, I clicked on your name, but my promise to everyone who participated was that those who chimed in would win. So I'm still going to give this to you because I said your name, but I have a second one, and I'm going to give away one to somebody who chimed in and allowed themselves to be vulnerable tonight. Winner is Lizzie Horrigan. Lizzie, you win a sample. Jen, you won a sample. Whoo! And we did it. I shared my 6 tips for coping with emotional eating. You guys, this is about addressing the core need. Remember, food soothes and suppresses. It gives you the illusion of fullness and wholeness. And your job, if you want to stop using food to do that for you, if that cycle is not working anymore, and I'm guessing it's not if you're here, your job is to address the core need. Ask yourself what you really need. Let yourself cry and grieve. Ask for help. Get in the kitchen and eat real food. And really, this is my big takeaway, get present. Practice just a little bit more mindfulness so that I'm doing less reacting and I'm doing more choosing in my moment to moment of my day and my life. Thank you for being here. I'm honored that you listened in. If this was helpful for you in any way and you are not already a paying member or paying to be a client or a group transformation, in my group transformation, and this was beneficial for you, I'm asking a $5 donation on Venmo. My Venmo name is Rihanna Batiste, or PayPal. I'm Rihanna at thenewschoolkitchen.com. But no pressure to donate. Yeah, that's not really the point of this. The point was that I wanted to share what I've learned about emotional eating, and my hope and prayer for you tonight is that it somehow supports you in your journey in changing the patterns that don't work. I believe in you. I know you can do this really brave and important work, and I'm honored that you stayed on tonight. I'm going to officially end the call, but keep it open in case anybody has anything to ask or any acknowledgments. Julie, you are late, but you better go back to the beginning and take the class. It was great. And I know you already sent your donation. I saw that come through Venmo. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. And please do send me a message if you want to talk about any of this stuff. I'm happy to process it with you once you watch the video. I can do this hard work, says Caroline. Corinda has realized that I had sadness I haven't addressed. Yes, I'm going to guess everybody on this call needs to do more of number 3 and feel the feels. So Corinda, I want you to practice that. I heard you say you suppress it for your son because you don't want him to feel afraid. I want to ask you and challenge you to be brave and to feel those feels and to feel that sadness. Model it for him and go ahead and go in your bedroom if you need to really let it go. Go in the bathroom, write in your journal, say, I feel sad. I feel sad. I feel sad. It feels like a pit in my throat, a pit in my stomach, whatever it is, those sensations that we talked about tonight, state the emotion and state the body sensation. I know it feels silly at first. It's incredibly effective. It comes up and it comes out. And then you're not soothing and suppressing and stuffing. Any other questions? Thank you for being here. You guys are so inspiring. Caroline sending love and hugs. Thank you for, she says, thank you for helping me change my life. You changed your life, Caroline. Thank you for letting me be of support and inspiration. You changed your life. Vulnerable is my middle name, thanks to you, right? Thank you, Laura, for being here and for your donation. I really appreciate it. Nancy's taking away, thank you. Julie's going to replay it. You guys are, you're doing really good work. Even just being here tonight, can you practice patting yourself on the back for that? I showed up, you showed up, we showed up, and we talked about sticky, icky things that people don't want to talk about. And this is the antidote to the hiding and the shaming and the eating. So I hope that you can feel this tonight. I hope you can take your little nugget, your takeaway, whatever resonated with you out of this conversation and bring it into your life. Don't hate on yourself if you're not doing it perfectly. Every time it's messy, every time you have the chance to feel the feels or ditch the judgment or focus on what's working and it doesn't quite go well, that's okay. That's normal. That's part of the process of change. You've got to bounce back and forth between the state that you are changing from to the state that you desire. We have this totally unrealistic idea that we're supposed to say, I want to stop doing that, and all of a sudden stop doing it. And then when we don't do the thing, we get really mad at ourselves. Why can't I stop doing that? Change is messy. If it's messy, you're doing it right. Your work is to be brave and to keep facing it, to keep showing up, to keep looking at it without hating on yourself and saying, man, I totally did that thing today. I'm going to sit with my icky feeling for a minute. I'm going to write a letter of apology. I'm going to forgive myself for how I showed up. I'm going to take 10 deep breaths and listen to the rain. I'm going to look at my how to cope list and take my supplements and maybe go to bed early. Be kind to yourself. That's not self-care, that's survival. Be kind to yourself because this shit is hard right now. And you deserve some kindness and some love. And yeah, you might be blocking it from others. That means you're definitely blocking it for yourself. Practice receiving it. Practice giving it. Thank you. I'm going to sign off now. I love you. Good night.